It's not black or white. 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 With Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely. Not black or white. It's not black or white with Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely.
I didn't do it because I was a hormone therapy user, and I'll go into it later. I want this to be about Adina and less about me, but I'll definitely tell you why I chose not to do that. But it was not in my lymphatic system.
Yeah.
You know, I had really clear margins, and my surgeon was like, 5 weeks of radiation for you.
Yeah.
And I think he was telling me that on purpose because he knew the next step, depending on what oncologist I got, I could end up being chemo. And I come in and I always tell him, I'm like, I'm still here.
It's interesting that they had you, because chemo wasn't on the table for you. It was just radiation.
No.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to put chemo on the table because I had a higher onco DX score.
Right.
And because the proliferation score was high for me, or the onco score was high, it was 29. They wanted it to be 26. So it was 3 points higher than they wanted it to be. So even if the score applied to me, say I didn't take any hormone replacement therapy or have any medication altering my natural biology, I would have only gotten a 5% benefit out of chemotherapy. It wasn't high enough for me to even consider it. If it was 5% for me to go through what I know people go through on chemotherapy. But also for me, I ordered, because I am such a freak, I don't only go wah 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 when people talk to me about that, but I got the Taylor X study. And the Taylor X study, so you know what we did, and you all might try this, we took my pathology report. My husband gets all the credit for this because I was too freaked out. I was like what you said, you feel like you're underwater and people are like saying things to you and you're like, all you hear is wah, 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 wah. So like your frontal lobe just shuts down because you're so scared about your impending death, because that's what people
you're like, I don't want to be in the tissue room.
But it's true. That's what you think, right?
Yeah.
So fortunately for me, Frank is a very like rooted to the ground, sort of like, let's just take this step by step. And he parks his emotions, which is really great because I'm the emotion, blah, blah, blah person. But he definitely parks that stuff. And he took my pathology report and he dropped in all the chat boxes. And let me tell you, folks, now I'm not saying to ignore your oncology people, because that I do not recommend doing, but I do recommend educating yourself. And ChatGPT can tell you exactly what these things mean. They also can send you the Taylor X study, which I asked. I said, what is the study that created the OncoDX scoring? Because Ki-67 for years was what they used. So they would take your tumor out. When you had a cancerous tumor, they put dye on it. It like goes crazy, and they grade the tumor, how fast the cells are proliferating. And what happens with OncoDX keeps Ki-67 in it. There's 21 genomes that they track in that particular scoring. And so, of course, they don't want to hear about my Ki-67 score, but they had to listen to me because I was like, wait a second. So my no one had said chemo to me at all. My oncology surgeon's like, 5 weeks of radiation, that's it, Diane, da, da, da. Suddenly I'm sitting with this person and she's like, yeah, we're going to chemo you. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? An early stage ductal carcinoma with really clear margins, no lymph node involvement, blah, blah, blah. But OncoDX was created so that they could find patients who had very active cell proliferation, because ER positive breast cancer, ERPR positive breast cancer is called a cold cancer. Listen to me, women out there. It's called a cold cancer, which means chemo usually can't see it unless it's gotten really aggressive and it's traveled into your lymphatic system, just like what you were talking about. Then chemo can see it, but it can't see it when it's this tiny little thing going, because it's quiet. It doesn't move very, it takes forever for you to see it, like 10 billion cells till you can actually see it. But once it starts to spread, then that's when chemo really actively can help you. But yeah, I was like pretty mad because in the Taylor X study, I asked all the chat boxes, I asked them, do they have any hormone therapy replacement people? I was on it for 5 years. And the answer was no. And then I said, why not? And then the chat boxes said, it's in the appendix. I can't open appendix. And I go, you can't tell me? No, but you can go to the appendix and open it, copy it and paste it, and give it to the world that way. So I'm all, what page is it on? page 46. So I went to page 46 in the information that I was sent by a chat box, opened the appendix, and it said they didn't allow to have any hormone therapy replacement users or aromatase users. So for us who have used inhibitors, hormone inhibitors, you couldn't be in the study. And why? Because it would alter your score. It would either elevate it if you were on hormone therapy replacement, like I was for 5 years, or it would suppress it if you were on an aromatase and you got cancer, which is highly unlikely. But nonetheless, I mean, could you imagine? Like, and not one of my oncologists knew the information that I knew. Not one.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah. And they would get mad at me. So then what I did was I'm like, because I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to take this 5% and not utilize it. So you know what I did was I asked my surgeon, I said, you biopsied my tumor 7 days outside of my hormone patch. I have all that hormones just sitting in me.
Yeah.
I said, I want you to test my tumor again when you remove it at surgery. So at surgery, he tested it again. It took him 2 seconds. He said, I'll go right down and test it. My score went from 50, which it was when it was heavily exposed to medication, to hormone therapy replacement and estrogen that didn't belong to me, folks. And then it was 8. My score was 8. So my natural biology, I'm the first patient at Hoag Hospital who ever did that.
Wow.
Because everybody's so traumatized and scared that they don't want to, they don't want to ask that stuff. They're so terrified. They're like, just save me, because
you absolutely have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
And that was the word that I heard a lot.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm all, what about your job? Can't you advocate for me? Your guys, like I was surprised. And so I had this, I will not say her name. I'm not a fan of this one oncologist there. I told her, I said, I just got my Ki-67 score. You know what she said to me? First of all, she said, I would have chemoed you a month ago again, your brain, your liver, and your bones, and I can't save you. So that was the first thing she said. And then she said, I only have 5 minutes for you. I have 15 other patients. And I was absolutely traumatized by that. And I said, well, I'm calling you. I want my husband on the phone with us because I couldn't remember things because I was so scared. And she wouldn't wait for him to get on the phone with me. And then I told her, well, my Ki-67 came back and it's only 8. And she goes, we don't care about Ki-67. We only care about onco. And I'm like,
how about saving lives? How about let's start there? You know what I mean?
Fired,
like you want to listen to all the results, all of the studies, all of the information coming to you.
Yeah,
I did like that about my oncologist. He constantly was like, oh, I just read about this, or this just happened at this study, or there's breaking news on this or that.
So he reads. That's an amazing thing.
And
you have a good oncologist.
Well, so I had one, and in the middle of basically I had chemo for 6 months and then radiation for 5, and then chemo again.
You had radiation for 5 months?
Yeah. And then
every day?
No.
Oh.
No. It was every 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so they did that different. I had radiation every single day for 5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. That's kind of a thing.
That's
maybe, no, you know what? Maybe it was that way. Sorry. It was because I had Kadcyla. They put me on Kadcyla after the radiation, which was another form of intravenous chemo. So I had it again after, just to kind of clean it up and make sure. They basically said to make sure it was all gone because they didn't like that I removed one of the chemo drugs in my
rotation. How many chemo drugs did you have?
Yeah, I had a lot. The last one I actually really liked. I was like, these are great. And I go, why can't you just leave me on this forever? I was like,
is that the one you told me
skinny, I have gray hair. This is good. This is working. Right. I love it. And he's like, it will eventually kill you. So you're not going to stay on that. My doctor probably got a kick out of me because I was constantly kind of busting his chops. This one's good. I like this one. And did you say it was $100,000? Ooh, I like that one. Give me that. So so the studies but that was a newer drug, so they were trying that one out. But
was it for the HER2? Was it like Herceptin? Was it because I know there's a new one for HER2? It's called Herceptin.
It was definitely chemo, but what was cool about it wasn't necessarily killing your good cells. So it was able to kind of target just the cancer
cancer.
cell.
Really?
So that's what they were saying was so new and advanced and blah, blah, blah. So that's what I was excited about. I'm like, oh, let's just put this on, like, can I just do that? And then when they said they wanted to put me on oral chemo for 5 years and take the pill, and they switched me to the pill situation, I lasted about 2 months on that because I said, I literally should buy stock in Imodium because, it was just
your
so
digestive
bad.
tract up.
Yeah, and then I would have to take naps in the middle of the afternoon.
Really?
Like 2 to 3 o'clock, or even 2 hours, sometime 2-hour naps. And you just can't work. It's like not a quality of life. You can't work that way. You can't live like that,
And this was after you did a full year of chemo, right?
I was chemo for 6 months.
6 months.
Then radiation. And then I did this trial chemo for a year and almost year and a half. And then he said, okay, you really should do the oral. And I said, well, why? He's like, well, and it kind of goes back to statistics. Well, the women that have had this have done this, So I said, well, okay, that's great and all, but didn't you say I was clear? That I don't have this anymore. Why am I doing more of this that I hate?
Did they do CT scan on you? Like look at you? Like, did you do a CT?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did they tell you don't have cancer anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too is, because it doesn't show up. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, I don't know about you, but any blood work I ever had, and again, because of the whole arm tingly thing, nothing ever showed up in my blood. So nothing ever was, okay, you're cancer positive because it's in your blood. So I always tell women that, I come across like, just because you go and you get blood work done and they say no cancer from the blood that you're taking, don't take that as an answer.
Right.
You don't have it because it could be, because even I was in the mix of basically having full blown cancer and it still was not detected in my blood.
Detected in your blood. Yeah. But I do think it's weird that you got tingly feelings in your arm.
Well, because probably it was the lymph nodes.
That were like really annoying.
The fact that it was there basically was probably where there's nerves.
It's so interesting because of all the people I know that have had cancer, nobody have ever told me that they felt it.
The tinglies?
Yeah, most people tell, except for Courtney Benson. Hello, Courtney again. Yeah. She could feel it like in her chest.
Well, they said
I couldn't feel anything.
And you I was very large breasted and they were real. And so the other thing too was they had said that when you have large breasts like that, some of the tissue does not get oxygen the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so you really even when you're working out or this and that, there's areas that the oxygen is not reaching. And so those are the areas that basically can be cancer homes.
Really?
So that was another thing too.
I never heard about that.
Yeah, you're oxygenating your blood. Anytime you're doing that, it's cleaning your blood and cleaning things out. So but anyway, so that was another thing.
Well, this Courtney Benson gal I'm talking about, she showed she showed her mastectomy. She said, I've never seen any of this stuff before. And she showed as they did the fill, she's like, I'm going into a fill, and then she'd show it, and then she'd be like, oh yeah, I got a little dent here, it looks gross, and stuff's going to fill. I'd be like, oh my God, woman, she's really, but I appreciate her because if there's anyone who needs to know about anything, she showed her boobs and she's like, they kind of look like pieces of bread. And I was like, yeah, they kind of do. Now they look normal. She finally got them to the place. She's going to do some flap thing. I don't know. Tim, I'm sure all this is very fascinating.
I'm learning a lot.
I
mean, my mom went through stuff, but, she didn't get too graphic with me. Maybe my sisters, but,
totally. It's definitely a crazy.
Were there side effects of that stuff?
What
all the medicine, all the chemo, all the other stuff they're doing.
She could tell you more than I could.
Definitely
she did the chemo.
Definitely side
effects. Did you get neuropathy?
No, which was interesting. But the thing about chemo is it is a lot of metals that go into your body, and platinum is numero uno. They have a lot of platinum that's in chemo that they're administering. So the thing that happened to me was I stopped the oral chemo because my body couldn't take. I was like, oh, I'm done. You know what? You're just gonna have to test me every 6 months or whatever it is that you're gonna do to figure it out if I have it or not, because I'm not doing this. And you ended up looking at, not that you have cancer in your blood, but you end up looking at how's your red and white blood cells. So
right.
that's what you're
Did you see
looking
your
at.
lymphocytes, and you're like, why are my lymphocytes
So
so
there
low?
was, that was like definitely going through chemo. And I remember being like, I have to work on Saturday. Can you shoot me up with those things that give me more white blood cell counts? And they would give me this shot that actually would, give you more white blood cells, but it was painful. It was a painful shot. But you felt like $1 million for 2 days, and then you're dead. Like after that, you're like whoosh, wiped out.
Wow.
But
Did they come to your house and do it? Because my insurance was like, we'll come. They kept calling me and saying, we got this special medicine. Are you going to do it? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I did the radiation. I'm like, I'm kind of done. It was attached to the chemo thing. Well, I never had done the chemo. I'm not recommending people don't do chemo. For me, I didn't do it. But
you had results that you figured out.
That I figured out.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to make sure people are like,
misdiagnosed.
no, they pretty much diagnosed me with early stage ductal carcinoma, but that they called me a gray area patient.
Okay.
And that's always lovely when someone says that, because they never taken into consideration that hormone replacement therapy could alter your biology, which is hilarious, because then they give you a hormone halting drug because they think it alters your biology.
Oh, geez.
So that's the part that I would be like, so you want me to believe that the hormone replacement therapy I took did nothing to my biology, didn't stop my joints from hurting, didn't give me extra estrogen, let my hair grow longer, none of those things help make me look younger, which it doesn't do, folks, just so you know. It has nothing to do with how young your face looks, even though tons of women think it does. It does not affect the collagen in your face. I think people should know that, because I think a lot of people do hormone therapy because they think somehow it's going to give you like liquid facelift. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It keeps your joints from getting crapped out, and your heart, it's good for your heart. It keeps some of the organs a little bit more oiled. Like I always go, I'm like the Tin Man, I need to be oiled, but I think that people don't I don't think they read enough about things, and so sometimes you have to be open to other ideas. And cancer people are scared. It's just a fact that when somebody says you have that, first of all, you are in that big denial space. And then once you realize you have to do something about it, you're like hurry and cut it out. Your journey was much more complex than mine. I mean, look how beautiful she looks too, everybody.
8 years ago.
You would never never know.
No, it was definitely, when you were asking like what's the side effects and all that, like after you get out of the chemo, and this was the thing that I would say for women out there that's really important, to not just do Western medicine necessarily, but kind of explore some of the Eastern and the natural path stuff. Because when I would say, hey, I'm gaining weight like crazy all of a sudden. All of a sudden, I'm just gaining a ton of weight. Well, I had to take an anti-estrogen pill. I'm taking the.
Were you taking tamoxifen?
I think it was that one.
Because there's an anastrozole, there's letrozole, there's estimine, and then letrozole.
Yep.
Letrozole.
Yeah.
See, I know them all.
I mean, they all suck. They all make you feel crazy. They all suck. This one, I remember being like, I feel out of body. Like I'm not. I don't feel.
You don't
myself.
feel like yourself.
You don't feel like yourself, and it's so hard to explain that. And I think maybe again, I just never was really a drug person. I never was like, oh, I'm going to try that. I mean,
How many years did you stay on it? On the hormone blocker, the letrozole?
Not very long at all, because it was making me feel like I couldn't even handle it.
Good. I'm not a weenie, folks.
I don't even, when people tell me that that's their journey and they can do all that, I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed, because I couldn't handle it, and it was making me feel weird. And you talk about the tingling thing. I was feeling like, how do people like to do drugs? Because I can't. I don't like this feeling. I don't know how they're working. I don't know how they're saying hi to their loved ones. I don't like. It was just.
You're just like I am. That's how I felt.
And maybe it's because I was a control freak and I wanted to be in control of my body, and I'm like, I don't like this feeling of being out of control. That's how I felt. So, it wasn't until one of my girlfriends, actually, she lived in a house that had lead paint in it, and she was basically being poisoned by her house, and she didn't really know. And she's a health nut, like amazing figure, always looks amazing, working out all the time. And she's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And she's getting violently ill,
Oh.
and it was just really bad. So she ended up going to this naturopath doctor that tested her blood and tested basically urine. They do urine, and they found that she had these high levels
Of lead in her blood.
and they were like, "Are you sure? Like, is there?" And they basically, the doctor said to her, "Do you think there's someone in your life that might be poisoning you?
Oh my
Like
gosh.
that might not want you to be alive?" Because it was
that bad.
It was that bad. Yeah, the graph was like her lead was completely off the graph. I mean, it was bad.
Jeez.
So when she was telling me this, she's like, maybe Adina, after all of this chemo that you have, maybe you have all these metals in your body that need to come out. Because that's what
all
was
these
happening too. All the toxins, so basically when you go through chemo, say goodbye to your thyroid because, and they don't tell you some of this stuff, so
what happens to your thyroid? I don't even know that part.
It stops like I had a thyroid that completely stopped working.
Really?
So, oh yeah. So the things that yes, you're being saved and you don't have cancer anymore.
Is it okay now?
No, I don't. My thyroid doesn't. I have to take synthetic thyroid medication daily.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have a thyroid.
I don't have a thyroid. My thyroid's gone. Dead.
Why don't they tell people this? They don't tell you about how they radiate you either.
Yeah. So that happened, and then when that happened, and so if you don't have a thyroid, it's not. It's not going to do anything for your hormones, and so your hormone levels are what controls a lot of things that go on in your body. Obviously, your entire composition, basically. So when that's out the window, and you're feeling crazy, and all these things are happening, I'm like, okay, what is going on? So she's like, maybe you have a lot of metals from the chemo that are still left over in your body that your body has not secreted yet. So sure enough, because your body holds on to these metals, and think about pollution and the things that we expose ourselves to that can affect us. That's why they say sometimes certain chemos can cause leukemia because it actually they're toxic. So I went to the doctor, and this is the naturopath doctor, and they basically tested my blood, off the charts for platinum and mercury. And they're like, do you eat a lot of fish? I'm like, not really. So all these things. And then when I said, I went through it, they're like, well, that explains it. So they started to chelate me. So I was doing chelations.
I don't know what that is.
It is amazing, Diane. If you were a chemo patient and this is something that you went through and now you have to get rid of this stuff that's in you. Would it work
for radiation?
Some of it won't go away for a really long time.
What about radiation people? Could they benefit from that?
Maybe, because it's also probably metals that you're getting hit with, right? So the chelation is actually used for autistic children. It's used for a lot of benefits now that they're finding that basically it's regulating systems. So I signed up for it, and I do. And then my endocrinologist and my oncologist is supportive of it.
Really?
They're like, I like that.
Is it a shot? What is it?
No. So it's intravenous.
Okay.
And so basically you sit there for about an hour, you're intravenously fed and stuff. And basically whatever composition it is, it attaches just to the metals, and the metal is secreted from your urine. So it goes right out.
Sign me up. I bet I need to get that.
Is hands down. And there's people that are not on chemo and that have not, but that maybe were, exposed to pollution more so than anybody, or they're, they work in an environment that
prevent
somebody from getting cancer
if
you do that.
And I'm seeing people in this center that I go to, I'm seeing them going there, and I'm talking to some of them like you were, kind of like, how long have you been doing this for? Oh, is there a reason why you do it? Or da-da-da. There's 90-year-old people in there that look like they're 50, and they've been doing it for 20 years.
Wow.
And I go, how many times do you go? And some of them are like, we go 4 times a month, or I go. But before, when I was first doing it, I will say it was expensive initially because it wasn't covered by insurance, but now insurance is covering it. So I thought that was very interesting. So before it wasn't covering it.
Would any insurance cover it now?
I'm not sure if it's any. But
if you have a PPO plan,
so I have PPO, and I pay $20. It's
who
covered.
Do you go? Who's your insurance provider? Is it Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Blue Shield, yeah.
Oh,
cha-ching! But it's great, and it's almost like a detox, right? It's almost like a detox. So I take it, and then a day later, you kind of feel like the toxins are coming out of you, and then a few days later, you feel like $1 million.
Wow.
So
I think I'm
getting
going to
that-
try that.
getting that over time
Uh-huh.
is basically what kind of started to regulate me, where I wasn't feeling like out of body. I wasn't feeling just, weird and like having weird sensations. And I, could focus more. Basically, if you're pumped full of chemo, there's so much metals that were in your organs and in your brain and in your blood and in
Well, you don't
every
look
part
like
of your
anything
body.
happened to you.
So
That's what's so
we're so
crazy
sweet,
about
but
it, you
yeah.
know? So you've been doing the right thing. Is that the only more holistic thing you do, or do you do other holistic things?
So the chelation for sure, but then the natural path,
Chelation.
and I'm doing that. I try to do it twice a month, but if
The
I can't,
chelation?
if I can't get in twice a month, I do it once a month.
And where is this located?
So in Tustin Longevity Center.
Okay.
So,
That's
Does everyone
good to
hear
know.
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, I wish there was one in San Clemente. I always tell them, like, you guys have to, be where we are. But
Right.
So you would
They
they're
have
kind
Wi-Fi
of
clients.
central, and they are packed with people. But they are the only ones that will administer through a port. Like, I still have my port. So
You still have a
I
port?
still have a port, yeah. So I've kept it, but I've kept it because I get blood work done every 6 months, and then the
Really?
chelation. And my doctor said, like, it's fine because it's good for up to like 3,000 pokes, and I'm not even close to that. So
Oh my gosh.
but yeah, so I'm really bad with needles. I'm not a huge needle phobe. So I'm like,
Is your
I
port
could-
really tiny or something?
yeah, it's
Is it
tiny. It's
gonna-
like right in my clavicle.
Oh, because
So,
I've
yeah.
seen what some of them look like, and I don't know if it's because they put a Band-Aid thing around it, but it
Yeah.
looks like a big square like that.
Oh.
Like, and then the port's underneath. But
Yeah.
I thought they were bigger than that.
No, it's about like,
Have you had the port for 8 years?
yeah. Well,
Holy smokes!
yeah.
You're a
They're
baller.
saying like you can keep it up to 10. So
Really?
yeah, because people do they do ports for long term.
So is that how you do your
That's how I do my chelation.
chelation? Oh, so I
Otherwise,
would have
if
to
you
get a poke.
you'd have to get it. Yeah, like it's like an IV.
Oh, well, I could
So,
do that.
If you guys are IV
I'm
friendly,
okay with that. I'm
not.
down when they take blood. I'm like, oh, check it out.
Oh
I just-
yeah.
yeah.
See, I can't. And I'm one of those people that has to have like, I have to have music going. I
Oh,
have to
really?
like get myself into the whole mindset. And if I hear anybody having it next door to me,
Oh.
I can pass out just from
Oh,
hearing what they're
wow.
going through.
Really?
Yeah, I'm very.
Yeah, needles
like,
I'm
very
okay with because
sensitive
is
to
it the same size as just like a needle you would get your blood
They
taken?
can do. They'll do like a butterfly one if
Oh.
you're a baby, like I am.
Those are-
I
yeah.
used to
See,
have
I
those.
was
I mean, my
hoping-
tattoo hurt worse than a needle. Like,
When they
so-
were
Yeah,
like,
if you got tattoos, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
when they were trying to tell me, oh yeah, you're gonna chemo, you can get here next week and we'll put the port in. I was like, oh hell to the no, you're not putting that in.
yeah, no, the port was like the best thing ever
Oh.
because I was like, oh, I don't have to put anything in my arms. Like,
Well, then I was worried.
I had knee surgery afterwards. I'm like, you guys have to use the port because then they said I was a hard stick. Like that was also something
Oh.
chemo-y,
oh,
like hard stick because
your
I
veins
only.
get all like damaged.
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm, so
Wow.
that was really hard for them to
They
do.
didn't
so.
explain that to me. Just so you know, that mean oncologist I had, who again will remain nameless. Lucky you, lady,
Yeah.
because she was evil to the core. She didn't tell me. My best friend called me. She's like, "You should do the port because when you start getting poked and you do chemo, it ruins your veins. Like, so you don't want to like."
That's why it's
Yeah.
important,
Yeah.
just like the two of you, to do
Yeah.
your own research, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
find out more information because chelation, never heard of that before until
I
just
never-
now.
Yeah.
That's
You know
why
what I
I
mean?
wanted you on, because I
And-
thought it's so important for other people to hear this, regardless of
Yeah.
whether they've had cancer or not. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd never heard that term before.
Well, and my friend that was poisoned from her own house,
Mm.
like totally fine now, no
Really?
problem, because it was basically getting rid of all the lead in her body.
Wow.
So do they test
So-
you before you have the
Yes.
chelation and say, this is how many? So if you don't
Yeah.
have any metals, are they like, sorry, you don't get to do the
I mean,
chelation?
unfortunately,
Yeah,
with
they'd
the
be
way
like-
the environment is these days, and
Everyone
what's
has
in
it.
our food and what we're
we
breathing,
probably all
and
have stuff.
we all have stuff. You all, and like if you like a lot of sushi, you're going to be eating a lot of mercury, or like there's a lot of metals that are in people's bodies.
Well, guess what I'm going to do on my
Right, I'm
board?
about to find out if I can go to
Tim and I are going to go.
What you doing?
We're going
We're
to
going
go
to
to
chelation
chelation
today. Let's go.
It's so
Happy hour
funny.
chelation.
It's
Let's go.
so funny. No, and there's a lot of people in there that you're like, why is that person like? And that's why I talk to them because I'm like, what are you doing in here? You know, like,
Well, it's a really big
but
deal.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I have done a crap load of reading, and I have never heard that. I mean, that's why I was trying to show you this card because I was like, oh, there's a wellness center that maybe they do chelation. I don't know, but
you can always
I'm
ask.
gonna go do.
It's
I'm
medical.
going to your.
They have to go through insurance. It's a doctor.
So you just show
know.
your insurance card like any other doctor you go
Oh,
to.
it's like you're checking into a doctor's office.
Oh, I'm going. I'm so
and
going
you're in
now.
like you're sitting in a chair that would technically, be something that could be also chemo that they're administering. Like that's the environment you're in.
But they don't have
So,
chemo.
no,
in that.
No, they
I
don't.
can't go there. No,
No, they don't all. But she looked the tests that they are taking. They're looking at specifics, like you had talked about initially. Like we're all our own individual cells. So if we could study Tim, maybe Tim is more reactive to XYZ, or I'm more reactive to something. Or so they were looking at allergies because when I also had chemo, surprise, your immune system is really low. So you start getting allergic to things. I mean, I ended up in the emergency room because I couldn't talk. Like I had a shutdown, like a body shutdown. My brother was an EMT back in the day. He was living with us at the time, and he literally had to carry me. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I was like, I'm not going to the hospital. And I went like this, like, just take me home. And he scooped me up out of the car and brought me on the couch. And he's like, I couldn't talk. I could not speak. So he called obviously 911 at that point, and then they came in. They
reaction to chemo, not being able to talk.
I was having an allergic reaction, whether it was the chemo or something I ate or something I breathed in or whatever. It was, your body is like freaking out.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm being poisoned.
Yeah, you're doing these things, and so, I mean, they asked me what my name was. I gave a different name. They asked me how old I was. I gave a different age. They asked me what date, like, I was born. I didn't know my birthday. Like, I was like... and then they administered Benadryl and saline, and I was like back to like whoop. I'm something like that. Like they're like, oh, she's
the drugstore thing that you can get over the counter.
Exactly, like Benadryl and saline. So the other thing too, I was finding out was during chemo these days you could actually go and ask for vitamin C packs while you're doing chemo. Like I would have loved to have known that because I probably would have gone to that center and had vitamin C or had, other things like more saline or things that would maybe hydrate me more.
It's not black or white. 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 With Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely. Not black or white. It's not black or white with Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely.